Hey, that Love Clark, and I'm going to read to you what I said was scientific and spiritual. And if you believe this report, you may have to rethink a lot of the way you believe. Atheist, believer, spiritual, agnostic, evolutionist, whatever you are, okay? German scientists prove there is life after death. Hot topic, September 21st. Well, that was the other day. Anyway, this is pretty breaking news, in my opinion. Now, let's listen to this. Berlin, a team of psychologists and medical doctors associated with the Universität of Berlin have announced. Now, Universität, let me stop this for a second. Universität, of course, the word universal, it means Catholic, so this is, a Jesuit project, which is, the Jesuits, just the Catholic branch of Freemasonry, basically. Anyway, let's start over, sorry. Berlin, a team of psychologists and medical doctors associated with the Universität of Berlin have announced this morning that they have proven by clinical experimentation the existence of some form of life after death. This astonishing announcement is based on the conclusions of a study using a new type of medically supervised near-death experiences that allows patients to be clinically dead for almost 20 minutes before being brought back to life. Now, that sounds interesting, doesn't it? You know what this is? Modern practice of, right? Think about it. What is this a modern practice of used in science? Necromancy. Because they're raising people back from the dead. Okay? So you got to be careful. They're playing around with necromancy. Okay? But nothing new. The people, Germans, because they usually tend to follow the death cult. Anyway, now there's some numbers that they throw out here. This is probably because it's the occult of 44. As Russian Vids points out, this is the Nazi occult, white supremacist Hitler, 4488, because it says this controversial process that was repeated on 900. Oh, look, they love to pop this up. This controversial process that was repeated on 944 volunteers over the last 4 years. There's your 444. Necessitates a complex mixture of drugs, including. Now, this is where it also gets into the Hitlery stuff, because he made, his doctors made, oh, look, it just so happens to have 444K. Okay, so there's your 444. Anyway, cult of 4488. What I was saying was these Hitler's doctors are the ones that came up with the version of crystal methamphetamine, which we have today, okay, which is very similar to these drugs we're going to name off, okay. So I just want to get this clear. This is all connected to the 44, cult of 44 and 88, and it's their MO to use this kind of medicine. These are the drugs they're involved in, and this is called necromancy, okay. When you're raising the dead, playing with the dead, it's called necromancy. This controversial process was repeated on 944 volunteers over the last 4 years. Necessitates a complex mixture of drugs including epinephrine and dimethyltryptamine. destined to allow the body to survive the state of clinical death and the reanimation process without damage. Now think about this. Clinical death and reanimation process. Necromancy. Okay? The body of the subject was then put into a temporary comatic state induced by a mixture of other drugs, which had to be filtered by ozone from his blood during the reanimation process 18 minutes later. The extremely long duration of the experience was only recently made possible by the development of a new resuscitation machine called the CPR machine called the auto-pulse. This type of equipment has already been used over the last few years to reanimate people who had been dead for somewhere between 40 minutes to an hour. There's that word again, reanimate. This is necromancy, okay? Now, I'm not saying when the doctors save your life or something like that that it's necromancy. But these experiments for the benefit of playing around with spirits and understanding the realm of the dead and how it works, this is necromancy, because you should not be inducing death on purpose to try to understand a state, okay? But that is the way of Satan. That is the way of trial and error. That's the way of man. It's the way of science. So, let's read this. Near-death experiences have been hypothesized in various medical journals in the past as having the characteristics of hallucinations. But Dr. Ackerman and his team, on the contrary, consider them as evidence for the existence of afterlife and a form of dualism between mind and body. Okay, watch out, Gnostics. The team of scientists led by Dr. Berthold Ackerman has monitored the operations and have compiled the testimonies of the subjects. Although there are some slight variations from one individual to another, all of the subjects have some memories of their period of clinical death, and a vast majority of them describe some very similar sensations. Most common memories include a feeling of detachment from the body, feelings of levitation, total serenity, security, warmth, and the experience of absolute disillusion in the presence of an overwhelming light. The scientists say that they are well aware of the many of their conclusions could shock a lot of people, like the fact that the religious beliefs of the various subjects seem to have held no incidence at all. Incidence. The various subjects seem to have held no incidence at all on the sensations and experiences that they described at the end of the experiment. Indeed, the volunteers counted in their ranks some members are a variety of Christian churches, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, and atheists. I know our results could disturb the beliefs of many people, says Mr. Ackerman, but in a way, we have just answered one of the greatest questions in the history of mankind. So, I hope these people will be able to forgive us. Yes, there is life after death, and it looks like this applies to everyone. No one gets out alive. Jim Morrison, Lizard King, do anything. You see, why does it say so? I hope these people will be able to forgive us. Okay? For showing the truth through necromancy. This is necromancy. Now they're getting their evidence this way. That's crazy. Absolutely amazing. 2 thumbs up for the scientist. Excellent job. Yes, we need these answers. This is what exactly the Hindu saints keep telling us. It's the spiritual discourses. Hindus call it as Harajanma, meaning life after death. A man will be born in a good culture family if his deeds, karma, in his present life are good. To be good means one's deeds should bring happiness to the society. One must not indulge in violence activities. One must not harm animals and should be pure vegetarian. One must have good companions or friend circles so that his mind will be free from evil thoughts. One should desist from liquors and non-vegetarian food. One should not steal things belonging to others. Whatever God gives, one must find contentment with that. But one must keep his efforts to uplift himself. Uplift. Be upright. Stand upright. These are like 10 commandments, basically, Hindu ones. Anyway, that's all I basically want to read about that. Also, one should not follow or practice casteism. Yeah, the caste system. Anyway, this says casteism. But anyway, interesting, there are references of reincarnation in the Bible, e.g. Luke 9:7-9. Now Herod the Tetrarch heard of all that was done by Yehoshua, and Yehoshua is Jesus, and he was perplexed because it was said of some that John was risen from the dead, and of course that Elias had appeared, and of others that one of the old prophets was risen again. And Herod said, John have I beheaded, but who is this in whom I hear such things? They're also interesting enough. I don't have the verse reference, but they say, who do you think this is? Elias, John the Baptist, come back from the dead, these kind of things, right? So, supposing, like Queenie Cameron has taught me, which applies and seems to be particularly true in a certain case when you think about it. These people, mindset, they would not have been wondering if someone was back from somewhere, or if their spirit was, if it was the spirit of Elijah come back from the dead, and these kind of things, okay, if reincarnation was not part of their faith system or belief system or understanding. Natural science, but back then was natural. Today they call supernatural. Okay, anyway, it's Outlaw Clark, and I thought that this was very interesting, and I'd like, if you like what you hear, subscribe. If you like the video, subscribe, and thumbs up please, because it helps to know if you like what you hear. But I just thought this was very interesting. That let's see, was there another 4 for some reason? Let's see, we got a 444. These are German scientists using medicine that they're familiar with. That was the same stuff that basically they're experimenting with Hitler's time, that crystal methamphetamine came from, okay, which Hitler was on doses of every day, and then some kind of dose at night to sleep. But the point is, let's see, yeah, 944, 4 years. It's 18 minutes. Somewhere between 40 minutes. See, there's your 444s, and then here's your 444. You got 4s all over the place. Cult of 88. 731. Alright. This is for Russian vids helping teach this. Whatever this, sometimes these numbers are even rigged on purpose. 731. 7 plus 1 is 8. And 3, you get your 3 8s for the cult of 88. Okay? You get 888. Alright? So, of course, everything in numerology and stuff, it zeroes out. There's no 10. It flips back. 0 is nothing. Okay? It's not part of the equation. And it flips back over after 9. So, it's at Love Clark. Hope you guys enjoyed this article. And I'd like some comments back. What do you guys think of this? And am I going too far as to calling this necromancy? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's at Love Clark. Love you guys, and know that it's possible. It's life after death. Doesn't matter what religion you are. If God loves us all, He may be taking us all. But I don't think it's all of us. I'm not too sure if it's going to be all of us at judgment time anyway.